Okay, so let's continue on chapter 1, section 1, whole number operations. We're going to go over example 1, adding and subtracting whole numbers. Okay, so for our first problem, we have this table here about the art festival attendance. So in the first row, you see the days 1, 2, 3, and then the number of people, 2,570, 3,145, and 3,876. Okay, so problem A says, what is the total attendance? Well, if we're finding the total attendance, that means that we're going to be finding the sum. So we simply need to add all 3 of the days together, okay? Notice how when I put my numbers in order, I put the biggest number on top. And I always do that on purpose. Sometimes you see it in textbooks when the biggest number is not on the top, but I always recommend doing that because when you're subtracting, you always want to make sure the biggest number is on top. So no matter what operation I'm doing, I always put the bigger number on top. Okay, so when we're adding, we're going to work right to left. Okay, so on my right side, we're going to be working in the ones column first. The ones is the smallest place value. Okay, so we need to add 6 plus 5 plus 0. Well, I know that that is 11. So I'm going to put the 1 for the tens place for 11 on top of the tens column. And then I'm going to type my 1 in the ones place for 11. Okay, so you see that it's 11. I carried the 1. Okay, now let's add the tens place. So we see the 1 that I carried, 7, 4, 7. I know that all of that added up together is 19. I certainly wouldn't expect you guys to know that quickly, but just for the sake of the video, I did the math earlier. Okay, so 19. So again, just line things up here. Okay, so 19, again, I carried the 1 because that's in the tens place value for 19, and then the 9 goes down below. Okay, so when you're adding up your columns, if you have a 2-digit number, the number that's in the tens place goes in the column to the left, or the next column that you're adding together. Okay, let's try another one. So now we're in the hundreds place. We have 8, 2, 5, and then the 1 that I carried. So all of that added up together is 15. So again, I'm going to be carrying my 1 for the 15, and I'm going to place it in the thousands place value column. And then my 5 is going to go below in the hundreds. Okay, last column left is the thousands place value. Okay, we have 1 that I carried over for the 15, 3, 3, and 2. So all of those numbers added up together is 9. So nothing to carry that time. Everything got a little smushed together. So notice how I really was mindful and kept all of my ones in the same column. All of my tens, hundreds, and thousands are all neatly lined up. That's to make sure that you don't make any mistakes and you don't accidentally add a 10 with a 100 or a 1 with the tens, and so on. So keeping them all neatly lined up. So the total attendance we found out is 9,591 people. I'm going to label that. Okay. Problem B. What is the increase in attendance from day 1 to day 2? So increase in attendance, that tells me that we want to find out how many more people came in day 2 than day 1. So we're going to be subtracting. So notice that I have the bigger number, 3,145, on top. And that would tell us the increase, right? Because day 1, there were fewer people, and we know that day 2, there's more people. We know that because if you look in the thousands place value, we know for day 1, 2 is in the thousands place, and 3 is in the thousands place for day 2. I know that 3 is bigger than 2. So that tells me that day 2, more people came on day 2. Okay, so 3,145 minus 2,570. Okay, so again, when we subtract, we're going to work right to left. So let's see, we've got 5 take away 0. If you have 5 things and take away 0 of them, you're still left with 5. So I'm just going to type that down below, making sure that my ones place value all lines up in a pretty neat line. I can't get it exact with typing on here, but it's pretty close. Okay, next in the tens, we have 4 minus 7. So that would be 4 things and take away 7 of them. Well, 4 is smaller than 7, so we're going to need to do some borrowing. So I'm going to borrow from the hundreds place value, and in the hundreds place, I have a 1. So I'm going to put a line through that, and my 1 becomes a 0. And then I'm going to add a group of 10 to the 4. So my 4 is going to cross that out so I can write a little neater and a little bigger. My 4 becomes 14. So I brought a group of 10 over. Ooh, that is really small. Let me try and type that so it's a little bit bigger. Try that again. Apologize. Maybe I'll just zoom in here. There we go. Okay, my 4 becomes 14. There we go. Okay. So now we have 14 take away 7. Okay, so we can have 14 things and take away 7 of them, and that will leave us 7. Okay, again, trying the best I can to keep all of my ones lined up in a straight column and then all of my tens lined up straight column. Now let's look at what we've gotten in our hundreds. So now we have 0 minus 5. Can we have 0 things and take away 5? No, we can't. We need to borrow again. So this time we're going to borrow from the thousands. So we're going to borrow from this 3. So we're going to take a group of 10 away. So our 3 becomes a 2. And we're going to give our hundreds place a group of 10. So our hundreds goes from a 0 to 14. Oh, I'm sorry, 0 to 10. Okay, so now we have 10 things, take away 5. 10 minus 5 is 5. Okay, again, trying the best I can to keep things all lined up. And last but not least, in our thousands place value, we have 2 minus 2. So 2 things, take away both of them, 0. So the difference between day 2 and day 1 was 575 people. And that's it, we're done. Okay, let's go over a couple more that are not part of a word problem, but just some more addition and subtraction problems. Okay, so we have 1,745 plus 682. So we're adding, and again, we're going to work right to left on our equation here. So 5 plus 2 is, can you do it off the top of your head? 5 things plus 2 more things is 7 things. Oh, that's small. That's okay. Okay, and then 4 plus 8 would be, anybody? 12. Okay, so 12 is a 2-digit number, so I'm going to carry the 1, which is in the tens place in 12, and then I'm going to drop the 2 down, and that's going to go in the tens place. 12. Okay, maybe I'll put a little space between there. Okay, now they're all lined up, nice and even. Okay, now in our hundreds place, we have 1 plus 7 plus 6. All 3 of those numbers added up together is 14. So I'm going to carry my 1, and then my 4 is going to go down below. 4. Okay. And then in the thousands place, we have 1 plus 1, which is 2. So in total, 2,427. Okay, let's go over one more subtraction problem together. We have 912 minus 799. Again, remembering that the bigger number always goes on top, especially when you're subtracting. But I would always like to see, even when you're adding, the bigger number go on top. Okay, so again, 912 minus 799. Okay, so in the ones place, working from right to left, the opposite of how you read, 2 minus 9. Can we have 2 things and take away 9 of them? No, we can't. We need to borrow. So we're going to borrow from the tens place because it's the next place value to the left of where we're currently subtracting. And our 1 becomes a 0. Again, we're taking away a group of 10 and giving it to the ones place. So our 2 becomes a 12. So now, can we have 12 things and take away 9 of them? Sure, we can. 12 take away 9 is, anybody know? The suspense? 3. Oh, 3. That's the number 3. Okay, now let's check out our tens place value. We have 0 minus 9. Can we have 0 things and take away 9 of them? Absolutely not. We need to borrow from the hundreds. So my 9 becomes an 8. And now my 0 becomes a 10 because we borrowed a group of 10 from the hundreds and gave it to the tens. So now we have 10 minus 9. Can you have 10 things and take away 9 of them? Absolutely, and that will leave us with 1. Okay, now in the hundreds we have 8 minus 7. Can we have 8 things and take away 7 of them? Absolutely, and we're left with 1. So our total is 113. All right, give some problems a try and check out the next video.